So we'll kill 5-10 minutes just going over these Bitcoin cycles. Got some Overwatch stuff to share too. So what I'm looking at here is the weekly kind of macro chart. Looking at the Brave New Coin Liquid Index because it goes back right to the genesis. And what I've done is I've put these lines on, which is the halvening dates. And then what I've done is I've just located the peak to the bottom. So this is the, let's just call it the bear market. So we'll just mark this on like so. We'll just pop this as red for the bear market. So this particular point from this low high to the low here, you can see I've put a measurement box here, which is around 1 year. I know it's 413 days, but if you just bear with me, I'll explain why I've put 1 year here. Then from the particular bottom that we just located to the next halvening date, we're looking at around 546 days. So if we just work that into years, we're looking at pretty much 1.4958 years. So we'll call that 1.5 year. And then if we move forward, we can see this nice move, bull move, and we move, make a new peak. Now if we measure from the first peak to the second peak, we can see 4 years has passed. So 1477 divided by 365 is 4.04 years. Okay, very nice. So this is the first cycle that I've labeled on. So if we just move this aside, we can see the next peak. We can see the trough, lower high. And doing the same measurement from the peak to the next peak is 371 days, so 1 year. Okay. Then if we measure from the halving to the peak is 1.5 years, so the 4 year cycle, you can see 1 year plus 1.5 plus 1.5 is 4. Okay, we've got 4 year cycle. Then when we look at the low, so the low just here to the halvening date, we've got 525 days, so 525 divided by 365 is 1.43. We'll keep it at 1.5 years. And then if we move to the actual next peak here, which was 69k up in the end of 2021, we can measure from this peak to that peak. We've got 1421 days, which is equals 3.9 years. Okay, so 3.9 years there, 4 years. So if we measure from the halvening date like we've done here to the peak, we've got 539 days, pretty much 1.5 years yet again. And we've got from peak to peak a 4 year cycle. Okay, so you see the exact kind of cycles we've got going on here. And everybody talks about the 4 year cycle anyway, so this is just broken down into different stages. So if we move into the current state of affairs, we can see halvening date, previous halvening date to peak 1.5 years, all good. Matches up with our previous ones. Actually, I didn't do this one, but I'm not too sure whether it's a good idea to start right at this point. We've got about a year, so not quite. And as people have mentioned, these cycles as they play out, they are changing slightly. So just bear that in mind. So from the peak to the bottom there, we've got 364 days, pretty much 1 whole year. So we'll just pop that on, represent the bear market. And then if we start applying the measurements like we've done to the previous cycles, we can see from the low to the next halvening date, and the halvening date's estimated for April 2024, so I'll put this on the 1st of April. You can see the low to the halvening date, 1.5 years. Yes, thank you. We've got the high to the low, 361 days. Yes, okay, so this matches up. The halvening to the peak, 1.5 years. Everything's matching up. So let's start to forward optimization on this using this kind of cycle. 4-year cycle, 1.5-year cycle. So the 4-year cycle is from peak to peak. So if we just pop this on the peak, which is around there, and then we have 421. Let's put 1400 days there. So we've got to about there. But as you can see, from the halvening to the peak, we've got 1.5-year cycle, 539 days, 539 days, 525 days. Yes, so you know they're all pretty much kind of lining up anyway. So you know how do we know that it's up here? Well, if we apply Fibonacci just to try and measure to try and gauge an estimate, we can see here the target area, the peak is spot on. So let's use that target as the potential kind of projection here. And if we just line this up, you can see we're lining up at around 157k, which is the top area. And if we take the bottom here, in and around 17k to the peak, we are looking at a nice increase of around 800% there. Very nice, very, very nice. So they're the macro cycles I've been looking at. And you know, I've done a couple of videos on these, so you know it's interesting to see what happens from now until next year. We've got kind of 365 days. This is it, man. This is kind of when it's all going to go down. So that's the Bitcoin. So let's go over some Overwatch stuff here. So you know, here I've basically coded 2 separate Overwatches. Done a video on this. And they're very cool, very cool. I'm enjoying it, enjoying this. What I've done is instead of coding all kind of entries into one, we've coded 2 separates, one for shorts, one for longs, okay? And on one chart, we can run the long strategy, and on the other chart or a separate account, we run a short strategy, or if the broker allows, you know, you can actually achieve hedging. Okay, you can open longs and short together without cancelling each other out, like a mess trader. So we can see here we've got a long position on the left-hand chart for XRP, and the push up. We can see this 15-minute chart. This can occur on any chart. Like it's just about kind of optimizing the strategy, finding the best parameters, the best time frames to work this on, or you could just do it on any time frame. But it's best to find the best ones. And in my experience, it's probably best kind of middle of the road. You don't want to go too high up the time frame, and at the same time, you don't want to go too low. So somewhere around 4, 8, 9 hours. So we can see this entry's got triggered here from hidden divergence, I think, yeah. And we've peaked out around 8.5% in the space of 6 hours. That's 2 days, 6 hours, sorry. And we've got another entry here a bit later on, moving up. So we're looking at this chart on the left hand side. You know, we're looking at this and we're thinking, okay, cool. So yeah, we had a bit of drawdown, but the majority we moved up into profit. Now, do we take the profit, or you know, what do you do at these stages? Do you scale out, take full profits, let it run, or whatever? Well, this is where this Overwatch comes into place, because when we get these these shorts firing off on the opposite chart, and you can see this is 15 minutes, so they're identical charts, and you can see right at the peak there, we're getting short positions firing off. So on your long position, so these are the options, you can close portions of your long, okay? So say we've opened up £1,000 worth of XRP or $1,000 of XRP, and we come up here, you might get a trigger here. We can sell off 10%, sell off 20%. If you're running a futures position, leverage trade, you can take off 10, 20%. Or you can run a separate account here. So say you've bought some XRP here and you've bought $1,000 worth of XRP. Here you could open a leverage trade or a futures trade and short against the position to hedge. Or there's numerous different options, so many. Then we get a move here, look, nearly 4%, okay, from peak to the bottom. And then we get another entry, and this is another 3.65, and you can see here, we get an entry, just before the pump, and then at the end of the pump we get a short entry. So we're not going to get exits on the actual positions. We're going to get hedging signals to tell us what to do. Okay, so that's XRP. Cool example there. So left hand side we had some 4-hour signals fire off, and then, as you can appreciate, in the 4-hour signals we can move down to a lower time frame, and here we can see, let's have a look if we can see that. So this is the 11th where we get, or maybe this is the 10th when we get this short position, and the 10th, if we just scroll up, we can see this is this peak here, okay, and we get this short position just before this move down. Okay, we get the short position, we move, we get this one has actually got some close signals, not too sure why, but we've got an 8% move there from top to bottom, and this is Bitcoin, so this percentage is going to be much smaller than everything else. So Overwatch long entries averaged out around 4% to the peak. Then the short position just before these longs fired off, we got 8%. So this move here on the right hand side, we've already entered the longs here. Now we get a short position firing off, but we got a lovely divergence there at the top, and we get a move down of 3% to the low. We don't get any long positions entered on the 4-hour, but we get more short orders down at this, up at this top level again. No exits on the 4-hour chart, but we get these 15-minute shorts. So like, let's just call them scalps for now, and then we get this move of 3.7%. So my point is that you could buy Bitcoin here. Say you buy 1 Bitcoin there, buy another Bitcoin, so you earn 2 Bitcoin, and then you could use those Bitcoin on the leverage trading platform to short, hedge, or you could sell, quite simply just sell a portion of the top here and buy back in, sell another portion, buy back in, sell another portion, buy back in, and so on. The signals, as you get to this level of trading, you start to realize that the entries aren't the hardest part. The hardest part is maximizing the profits and living with that, living with those decisions. So what else we got? We've got some more BTC examples here. We've got, this is both 15-minute now, so we decided to just see what happens. So we've got the short position down here, as you can see, this peak. This is what I wanted to do the same, back-to-back, same time frame. We get the entry right at the bottom there. Yeah, we do have quite a bit of drawdown there, but we end up with a 2.84% move before we get another entry, and that's another 2.81% move. We get the final entry, which does move up again into 1% profit. So overall, that's decent return. And then our first short, we get on the left hand chart somewhere around here. So the short's already opened when the long is open, so that kind of cancels each other out. But leaving this long open, as you can see, we've come into this drawdown, almost raised all these profits, but we've just switched all the profits into these shorts. Okay, so effectively it's just broken even. Very cool there. So you can see on the right hand side of the chart, these two squares, we've got no action here, but it's covered in the hedging. Final one we've got here, this is 5-minute and 5-minute. So Overwatch longs, we enter in, move up 1%. Now, let's just try and locate this. No, I can't see. So I think this long position is around here. So you can see these shorts firing off here. We move down into profit. This one actually closes it, which is cool. And then this is when we get our longs opening up on the left-hand chart. We move up into profit, cool. But then on the right-hand side, at this point, we get these shorts firing off. So this can be left open. And as this does start to move into profits here, yeah, we're going to miss our profits. But as we get down to here, and this fires off, this averages out this position, this one's closed, so all these trades are closed on the right hand side with all the profits, and then we've actually entered into a better position here with an average, and so on. So it is quite complex to understand, but I think if it's trying to get it all onto the same chart, it's just troublesome. And here we can decide to switch it on or off, each side. So we think, it doesn't look good, or we can just switch the time frames and look at what's happening. Very, very powerful. So very cool. That's all from me. All the best.